Now, Slicker
Slicker 3000.
Stand there and I'll come around the corner, Rick. Hi guys!
And welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be discussing a video that has been all over the internet and particularly Instagram and YouTube called Are Militant Vegans Going Too Far? It was on this morning and Earthling Ed was the kind of defence, I suppose, for vegans, and then there was a journalist,
Haven't got her name.
we'll tell you her name as we go on. There was a journalist who was on the opposing side, so we just wanted to watch the video and do kind of reaction to it and what we think about what both of them said and everything.
Ed, why did you become a vegan? How long ago was that?
Yeah, so I've been vegan now for about 3.5 years. I saw a documentary called Earthlings, and it basically summarises all the different ways that we exploit animals. It talks about dairy and eggs and all the horrible things that we do to them in commercial farming systems. And I felt like a hypocrite because I said I loved animals.
So Earthling Ed went vegan by watching a documentary, he's saying.
Yeah, which is basically the same kind of thing. We watched
a video, yeah.
We both turned vegan from the same video. We watched the Draw a Cow's Life, is it called?
It's Draw My Life of a Dairy Cow.
Oh, a dairy cow, yeah.
And I had been kind of wanting to go vegan for a while. I'd been vegetarian for about a year, maybe longer actually, maybe a year and a half. And I didn't know a lot about veganism, but it was something that was kind of in my mind. And then I watched this one video and I honestly just could not have any dairy products again, and then obviously cut out eggs and so on. But yeah, I mean, very impactful, not a graphic video at all, is it?
No.
We'll post it in the description of this video so that
It's a great video. And I wasn't vegetarian for too long before I turned vegan, just because I watched this video and I just thought I can't. And I had a great influence in my life, Ellie.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
I mean, I never really kind of spoke to you about anything like that, because before you went vegetarian, you were always quite a big meat eater, weren't you?
Massively.
So I was probably vegetarian for 2 years before you went.
I mean, if you looked at us about 5 years ago now, we used to hang out at Favourite Chicken.
Yeah,
which is,
I know. It's crazy, isn't
crazy.
it? People say that they don't think they can go vegan. We used to eat. Well, I didn't eat a lot of meat. I kind of ate chicken and minced beef, but you used to eat.
I used to have sausages,
meat feast, pizza, everything. And I remember you saying like you could never go vegetarian when I was like,
I'd never give up meat.
So we never really spoke about it. It was just kind of I'd have a vegetarian option, you'd have a meat option, and then you all of a sudden just went vegetarian.
Yeah, I did. I watched a few videos and I was.
Right. Yeah.
I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? I want to go vegetarian, but I keep telling myself I can't. So I thought, you know what? I'll go vegetarian for a week and see how that goes.
I just saw you and you were like, I haven't eaten meat now in like 4 months or something.
Yeah, because I didn't want to tell you and then go back to it and then I'll be like, it's just annoying. So I just I gave up meat and then I thought I'll do it for a week, and then I ended up from that day forward I've not eaten meat since.
Yeah. So same for me when I first went vegetarian, and then obviously watched the dairy video and just cut out. I'd just moved into uni at the time, so I had like crisps that had things like milk and stuff in them, but I was just giving them out to flatmates or like giving them to family when I went home, because I just like honestly like the thought of it just made me feel sick. So maybe I think that's how a lot of people go vegan.
Yeah.
And also I had a friend, when I went vegetarian, I had a friend who was vegetarian and just kind of opened my eyes to it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I've always grown up with my mum being vegetarian as well, which now she's pescatarian. But it doesn't really make sense. I don't really get it. But yeah, that's how it works. Alright, so let's watch a little bit more.
I felt like a hypocrite because I said I loved animals. You know, I always said that I was an animal lover, but here I was paying for animals to suffer and die on my behalf. And so I felt that I'd hit some sort of moral brick wall where I preached one thing, but my actions said another thing. And so I had to be vegan to align myself with my own moral code. You know? We're in a nation of animal lovers. It makes sense for us to extend that compassion towards.
What I love about Earthling Ed, I feel like he gets all of his points across and all the points that I'd want to make, when he is essentially the minority here. Like 3 people around him are vegan, and I think he's such a good speaker and he's so powerful and he gets everything in concise language without sounding rushed or like he's trying to force out what he's got to say, but he's got so much to say.
Oh, he does. And the thing is, sometimes because I'm only newly vegan, I struggle and I think I kind of get wound up by the arguments, and sometimes I get like not aggressive, but like I'll get louder and I'll get like, because I'm angry about it still.
Yeah, and it's very easy to do that, but that's where the whole like preachy vegan stereotype comes from. But the only reason people consider that is because they're so passionate about it.
Oh, 100%.
But I suppose he's been vegan for 3.5 years, and he has been probably ever since he went vegan, pretty much been kind of campaigning for veganism and 100%. Animal rights, and he's been famous. Well, I mean, it's grown and grown and grown, but I've been vegan for 2 years. I remember when I was vegan for 3 days, going to a protest, and he was leading it. So
he's amazing.
He's done well.
He's definitely an inspiration.
Yeah, but I just think, for anyone looking to do more advocacy, he's a great guy to watch in terms of like how you come across and things like that, because it can be very easy to get angry and upset,
and you don't want to intimidate people as well.
No, I watched a video of him the other day actually, talking to, I think he was outside at University in London, and he put up a sign saying, "Everyone should go vegan, change my mind." Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen
it's on his YouTube channel.
Really
and this guy sits down and says, "I don't eat any vegetables, I only eat meat," which is obviously a lie, because I'm sure he eats chips, I'm sure he has vegetables. He can't just, I mean, he possibly
could. If you only eat meat, it's...
And he was saying...
That's worse than going vegan for literally like all your nutrients.
Yeah, well, going vegan is good for your nutrients, but
yeah,
I mean
like
people
think what they think, usually. So for him to turn around and be like, "I only eat meat," and then say what nutrients are you getting from being vegan?
He was basically saying you can't class an animal as having feelings and things like that, and saying like, how can you value an animal's life? And Earthling Ed just... he was kind of talking about morality and things like that. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it must be upsetting the work he does, and as we find out from this video later on, he gets death threats every day.
Yeah.
So let's proceed.
Are you prepared to take that?
That's an interesting question. I think I personally believe in education, and I want to talk about veganism as much as possible, because knowledge is power. And when we're given both sides of the argument, we can make a conscious decision based on how we truly feel about the situation.
Yeah, it is a loaded question,
because we've been fed the same kind of propaganda.
They're going to go on to talk about
dairy,
these
cow's milk
militant,
for calcium, but actually this isn't true. And when we can kind of level the playing field and
been sending death threats apparently to farm owners and abattoirs. And my opinion on it is, don't send death threats to them, because as passionate as you feel about it, as horrible as it is, that's not going to achieve anything.
And I also feel that if you're vegan, you're doing so much already. Yeah. And if you're going to send death threats, like, being vegan is making you such a good person already, don't put it back and be a bad person. Because if you won't let an animal die for you, don't let a human, don't threaten a human.
The only reason that I could see that would drive them to say that would be that they're so passionate about it that they just think like, how can you must be such a horrible person because you want to inflict this pain on these animals, you know, you shouldn't be here, kind of thing. But I personally just don't think it's the right way of going about it.
Definitely not.
All my friends that have gone vegan or vegetarian because of me is literally just through them seeing what I eat, thinking it tastes nice, and me kind of giving them the old comment of how animals are treated if they ask me. I can only think that these guys are just so passionate and that's why they do it. But again, like, death threats are never the way forward, and how did it get to death threats? I don't understand.
But then Earthling Ed does go on to say that he gets them on a daily basis from meat eaters. So it's not a veganism problem, it's actually a problem with society.
And the social media, essentially. And he said that people say to him that he's into bestiality.
Which is disgusting.
Just because he wants to save animals. And it's just stupid.
It's just the worst thing. Like, how can someone say that?
The lengths people go to just for like some person like sitting behind a screen to say that. It's just disgusting.
Keyboard warrior.
But across what's actually happening to animals, the terrible suffering that they go through, and the environmental damage that it causes to our whole planet. I think when people have that power, they're more compelled and empowered to make informed decisions.
Are you militant?
Militant's an interesting word. I stand up for what I believe in, I speak it, I preach it.
Very hard questions for Ed in comparison, because you can tell that they kind of support what the journalist is saying in comparison to him.
But you can also, like, I feel like Ed comes off like he's so well educated.
Oh gosh, yeah. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and where I feel like she comes up like she doesn't really know what she's talking about.
Yeah, no, it's like, she's like, I agree with what Ed said.
She's like, I agree, yeah.
And then the whole thing about apparently vegans are middle class.
It's basic arguments that most meat
so like you could have got anyone on there to say that, really.
Hopefully in a way that I believe to be effective.
How far will you go?
How
far will I go?
I mean, straight away.
This sounds like a loaded question. I've never...
Well, it is a loaded question, because obviously we're going to talk about the militant vegans, and we'll use that word, you say you don't really like it, but who will take it to the extreme, who will be violent, who will be offensive, who will be, frankly,
it goes on to say here, violence is never an option, because if you're campaigning against non-violence towards all living beings, animals included, then why would you be violent in your protest? It just doesn't make sense.
It's all peaceful protesting. I mean, with vegans, you can't preach to be non-violent.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, there's obviously groups that are giving these death threats to people, but I personally don't associate myself with them at all. And they obviously, I think it just, the only thing, like I said earlier, is that they can just be driven from passion, and that's all it is.
And I think as well, in different groups, like minority groups, there's always a group of people that try and represent that group. So like in different religions, there's certain people that put themselves forward, and then you think, oh, I'll associate those violent actions with that religion. It's the same with veganism right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make.
Yeah, and that's literally like one person doing that will be reflected on all of us, and that's not fair to do that, because a lot of us will be
the majority.
Kind. Yeah, everyone will be so kind, and then there'll be 2 or 3 people that are vegan and being violent, and that's what's portrayed for all of us.
Then that's exactly right.
Violence, of course, is never on the table. We don't condone
violence. Is never on the table. We don't condone violence.
Offence is a very unique thing. It's very subjective.
Offence is subjective.
Exploit animals. However,
this is a really interesting point.
Necessarily good justification for that just to stop. So we have to not be so concerned about offence, but concerned about justice and what's happening to animals. And the fact that pigs are
so he says here, we should stop being so concerned about offence, and he says, I am personally offended by the mistreatment of animals,
as I believe most vegans.
But of course. But I think he says, but this offence isn't enough to make other people justify
not eating animals.
So I think he says we need to stop focusing on offending people for our own personal views and think about the majority that are suffering here, which is the animals.
He mentions that stop thinking about offence and start thinking about justification.
Yeah.
So it's more like, is this action justified? So that's a really good point. And he does say that in a lot of his videos, like, how do you morally justify that?
I mean, I think that's such
his
a good
question.
Is so strong. That's why. And then for people to try and challenge him, very hard. Because he's a clued up guy, and he's a passionate guy without being aggressive. So
and he's not forceful either. He will tell you his points. And in a lot of the videos, I watched one this morning actually. Watched a video and he was just talking to random people in the streets of London, talking to people about how they eat meat, and he was just asking questions. He was like, so are you a cat person or are you a dog person?
Yeah,
and that's how he started. And then they're like, oh, I'm a dog person. And then he's like, so would you hurt a dog? And they're like, no. And then he's like, well, so why would you hurt a dog? And you would hurt an animal. And they're like, no one gets angry about it, because a lot of people do get angry about it. Yeah. But they don't get angry about it because he's asking in such a nice way.
Yeah, he's got such good methods around it. Everything.
Right.
This very second.
The fact that dairy cows are being forced to be impregnated and their babies are being taken away from them. The fact that we macerate and gas 40 million day-old chicks every single year in the egg industry just because they won't produce eggs.
See, if that was me, I feel like I'd probably get a little bit too passionate about it and be like, dairy cows are being forcibly impregnated, but he's just very much like,
I think I approach it more like, you are making.
And what I like as well is he always uses when I think he goes on to talk about eggs and how the male chicks are put into a grinder or gassed, and he's like, which we're all responsible for on a daily basis. And he isn't personally responsible for that because he's vegan, but he's being inclusive by saying we're all responsible for that, which I think is because a good way to put it.
He puts it as a species, we all do that, and he doesn't take himself out of that. And I think that's a lot of what a lot of people think is vegans take themselves out of the
think they're
species, think they're above everyone, when we're not. We are exactly the same. We make choices, you make choices, and that's how it is. And we do think that we're right. Yeah, you think you're right, but everyone has a different opinion. And I mean, obviously there's facts and statistics that can back up our arguments, and I'm sure, I mean, tradition will back up your argument. Not that I think it's a strong point, but you have things that you can use.
But I'd be happy to have the conversation with someone that wanted to give me that argument. Like, we were thinking of actually getting someone on the channel to discuss.
We're going to do a debate week, so we could, with videos, we'll think about what people like more and what people don't like, so we could do more reviews on videos, other people's videos, and we could do some debate videos with people that we've got around us. Like, I know a lot of most of my family eat meat. I say my mum's pescatarian. I mean, I've got a cousin that's vegan and vegetarian and stuff like that. But my dad eats meat. My sister eats meat. And all my nans and granddads, they all eat meat. So I think that's quite a strong point. We can talk to any of them and try and understand. And maybe we want to use some of Ed's methods as well, really.
Yeah, I would definitely take a lot away from him, 100%. I do every time. I mean, I met him. Well, I've only met him once. We want to go down to his diner and meet him.
I have never met him, and he's like the biggest inspiration ever to me. So I really want to meet him, and I keep telling everyone how much I want to meet him. So
yeah,
you know what? Someone watch this and tell Ed that I want to meet him. Okay, please.
Should we just tag him?
Tag him, because I literally love the boy. Right.
Abhorrent and offensive action that we all commit on a daily basis.
Yeah, we all.
Right, well, Julie, you think this has gone to the extreme now, don't you? You said here you think veganism is preachy and a middle class thing.
Well, this is probably the last thing that you want to hear with the debate, but I agree with every single word that Ed says.
She agrees with every single word.
I think that it's absolutely right and proper that we look at what's happening to animals, that we challenge intensive farming. I don't have a problem with killing animals for meat, but I think that as long as they've lived well and die humanely, if there's a
That's a very hot topic as well. How do you say, what is dying humanely?
So she's saying she doesn't agree, she's saying she doesn't disagree with killing animals for meat as long as they've lived a good life and are killed humanely. Now, this is something that members of my family say to me also, because...
And I've heard this argument
I know you do get some people that won't care, not that half the time it makes a difference, right, from our point of view, but we'll buy battery eggs, you know, we'll buy from anywhere because they really couldn't give a crap. I'd say both our families are kind of like the more like, we'll buy free range eggs, we'll buy
I definitely make
chicken,
on my,
that kind of thing, which half the time doesn't make a difference for any of us. We'll do a video, maybe educate people about that. But they're relatively compassionate in that sense. However, they are also very much like, we should, you know, I have no problem with killing animals for meat, as long as it's done humanely. Now, Earthling Ed raises a very important point. I'm not sure if just in this video, but I've heard in many of his other videos, saying, well, to define if something's humane, you need to know, would you do it to yourself? Would you like someone to do that to you? And would they want to be gassed?
And say you've had a good life now, and you're having a good life. And I know a lot of people, I hear it like, I know it's like, but even in films, right? People go, I don't want to die. So just because you're having a good life doesn't mean that you want that to end. And I don't think even if they're having a good life, I don't think it's you don't have the power to make that come to an end.
No, like everyone should live their life. Just because it's been a good life doesn't mean, all right, now, you know,
let's cut it off. You've had a good life, that's your time done. Like if that was a dog, you would feel completely different. Just because a dog's had a good life, you think, I want this dog to continue having a good life until its old age. You don't think and that's completely different for chickens. Everyone goes, oh yeah, it's had a good 2 to 3 years living, let's kill it now. And that's disgusting. And even if it gets that long.
Or like baby calves that get literally 2 days, if that, hours sometimes. And that's a really important point, and like you say, a hot topic, and something that I feel she's probably, and everyone else that says it, like not that well informed of, because I think if they want to say as long as they're killed humanely or they're from a free range farm, that's okay. Do you want to go to a free range farm? Do you want to go to an abattoir? Watch what happens, and then are you still happy to eat it?
Exactly.
Because if you are, as sad as that is, okay.
But if I don't feel like if you can't kill that animal yourself, you don't deserve to eat it.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you go to a farm like that, you see what happens, you would be able to be the farmer who's killing that animal, then as much as I think that's a disgusting thing to be able to do,
then at least you're justifying
your point. And that's horrible as it is, and it is disgusting, but if that's what you feel like that's right, then that's right for you.
But like, I can't imagine any of my family going out and killing an animal to eat it.
Oh no, I don't think I know anyone in my life right now who could hold a gun to an animal's head and actually shoot it. Or send a load of pigs into a gas chamber and listen to their cries. It's
very interesting documentary about all of this called Dominion, and it's on plant-based news. It's kind of like an expose piece on where hidden cameras and drones and things like that were used to show what actually happens in abattoirs and gas chambers. And I personally can't really watch more than like 10 seconds, but if anyone wants to see what goes on, just to kind of like back up what we're saying here. and what Ed's saying.
If there's a possibility for that, then I think that what we should be doing
Julie
is targeting
Bindel,
the agribusiness and looking at large-scale farming. But my issue is the way that a number of vegans, and I'm not suggesting that Ed is one of these, but a number of vegans will espouse this kind of sanctimonious dribble about how it's no more expensive, it's no more time-consuming, it's as easy.
I don't think she's aggressive at all. I just don't agree with her point.
Who have 3 children under the age of 5, who need to feed those children, and it is cheaper and easier, much as I don't like that fact, to give these children fast food, meat-based diets.
So basically what her argument is that if you're a mother, a single mother with a job, but you have 2 kids or 1 kid or 3 kids and you're living on a budget, how are you going to buy a vegan diet? The facts she's saying that there's facts saying that there's statistics saying that it's easier to take your kid to a fast food chain for dinner because it's cheaper. And she's saying that if you're a single mother on a budget, you cannot afford vegan food, and that is it. Where I think a lot of vegan foods are sometimes the same price, cheaper than meat.
I get her opinion in the fact that if you want to have organic avocados every day, if you want to have silken tofu every day, you know, if you want to go to Pret a Manger at like every lunchtime to get a baguette, it's going to get expensive. Also, you can, in England, you can eat at McDonald's if you get the vegetable deluxe burger with no mayo, and the chips here aren't cooked in animal fat. So that's a fast food alternative that is still vegan and not harming animals, although some people don't like eating there because they think they're still contributing to a fast food chain which tortures animals. So.
And I think, just jumping on your point there, as well as if you want to go and eat all these lovely vegan foods, that's the same as if you were a meat eater and you wanted to go out and you wanted to eat steak every night and you wanted to have all these nice things. You're still going to get the best of the things. So if, if you just want a quick vegan meal, just get some lentils or something like that, you can have that on a budget because it's not costing a lot. I get chickpea pasta for £3 and it's like, I think that's sometimes a lot cheaper
last you a long time.
than some of the pastas in Sainsbury's. Which
you can get like whole wheat pasta for 55p and just put some veg in it and some tomato sauce, even ketchup, and like what's that, a meal in like £1?
Yeah.
And like on our channel, our first video we posted was a mushroom risotto in under £3,
which is ridiculous.
And that price isn't really going to go up with you adding like bulking out for more than one person. So say they're living on £5 a day for dinners, they could easily do that.
Yeah, like that fits
for a family of 3, 4, whatever. You've just got to be clever with what you buy. Buy the value versions of things.
Yeah.
I think I've seen many videos on YouTube that just, I mean, maybe we could do one, just shows like all the kind of smart price Asda or Tesco value things that are vegan. And just wanted to make the point of shopping at chains like Aldi and stuff like that. You can get food really cheaply. I picked up some tortillas. So there's so many times now because we've recorded it's like 4 times.
Beans, and what else did you pick up?
Under £1, and you can make a Mexican in like £3. And if, what we said earlier, if you can live on a budget, if you got £5 a night to feed a family of 4, that could easily be done. You just got to budget wisely, as you would if you're on a meat diet anyway and on a low income. What I definitely don't agree with what she's saying here is it's much easier to take a kid to a fast food chain because that's so bad for their health, and obviously child obesity is a huge problem in the UK and in America.
Yeah,
I don't know wherever people are watching from, but they're the 2 places I know that have got a huge problem with it. So plant-based diets and how healthy they are should definitely be looked at as a kind of reform for child's eating habits.
Definitely, I agree with all of that. I'll just go back a bit.
What I found, and I first wrote an article about this in 2005, which was a tongue-in-cheek article about how people are constantly lectured by vegetarians and vegans who seem to think that their
I don't think that's a fair point to say you're constantly lectured. Maybe there's a fact thrown in there, but because people feel quite passionate about it, people will express their feelings, and because you know it's wrong, well, I'm not saying personally you know it's wrong, but I think a lot of meat eaters know what they're doing is wrong, and that's why they go, I'm being lectured about what I'm doing because it is something.
Don't want to be made to feel guilty.
And you only feel like it's a lecture. Like when my mum gives me a lecture, it's because I know I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's lectures instead of just like having a chat.
And it's probably just because they're asked a question about it as well. Like, people ask me questions or go, oh, let's have a debate, you know, and I just think they're obviously in some sort of heated thinking they're going to be able to, like, shoot me down on it. So I just kind of, like, be like, nah, not today.
Yeah, exactly.
They do nothing else. They do no campaigning against the meat industry. But just the very fact that they have this diet, you know, becomes unbearable. Now, I had lots of death and rape threats. I still get emails.
And again, with the death and rape threats, I feel like that's not just from her side. She's not just getting that. And I feel like we both don't agree with sending those kind of messages. And that one, she's now going to associate that with the whole of vegan people, like us as a whole, and that's not fair to do so, as we're not all the same as certain people in religion aren't the same. So that's definitely the same with that. And I feel like Ed gets the same thing, so it is again just something to do with society, not to do with...
It's just an issue with social media and society and trolls, really. It's nothing to do with vegans.
To this day, from people who seem to support the PETA view, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which in my view is a deeply misogynistic organisation that thinks it's fine to treat women as animals, but we need to treat animals
humanely. They don't care about women, but they care about animals. Now, she has no evidence to back this up. I really don't understand how you could say PETA is misogynistic.
I don't agree with this.
So many women work for PETA, happily, voluntarily. I
think she goes on to make a point.
And that is the big problem I have. And yes, after I came on the programme in January, you know, I was called all the horrendous misogynistic names under the sun by some macho brocalists, as we call them, vegans, some men who seem to...
This annoyed me a lot. When they were like, oh, people are boasting about their vegan diet, but men will boast about their non-vegan diet.
She's basically saying there's a group of men, these macho men, that have gone from steak eating gym lads to now being vegan, and now they're boasting about their vegan diet and using it as some sort of lad culture, which personally can't say I've ever seen, not gonna lie.
I don't agree with that.
In fact, every vegan I've ever met has been lovely. And if they're using it, a lot of people find it much healthier and more organic to build muscle on a vegan diet if they're bodybuilders. And a lot of them find it easier to build muscle on vegan diets. So if that's the kind of people she's talking about, I can't say that I've ever met any that have kind of boasted about that. They might kind of
I mean, they share what they're doing
on their Instagram, but then like
I think it's not popular as well. Everyone thinks, oh, I need to have meat to have this, or to be big, and a lot of my friends that go to the gym say, well, if I'm going to the gym I can't not have chicken. And I think, well, you can. You get protein from other places, and that chicken is getting the protein from what we eat, not from what you're eating.
All protein is originally from plants, so the only reason that chicken has got protein is because it ate plants.
What was the quote I saw the other day? It was, people think if you eat the ox you'll be as strong as the ox, forgetting that the ox eats grass.
Yeah.
Something like that. But it was
like gorillas are vegan.
Yeah. Makes no sense. Let's carry on.
I think that this is the new macho, and we can see this in the way that some men are trying to pull others into veganism by showing that they can be big bodybuilders and that they can have massive muscles and that they're like junk food made with vegan ingredients. It's just a kind of a swap for their usual kind of, you know, meat eating and steak eating into now a macho vegan.
So your reaction to that, those extreme responses on social media as well?
I mean, I don't condone those at all, but I mean, the thing is, it kind of happens on both sides, and I myself, been on social media, I receive death threats on a pretty much a daily basis. I mean, the issue is it's such a divisive topic, and people feel so passionate on either side, and I think we've got to be...
Because you are a vegan, so...
And because I advocate online, and because I'm very vocal in my veganism, I get death threats from farmers,
he's a very active speaker,
just opposed to what it is that I'm doing. And so it's an issue that exists on both sides. It's not an issue from a vegan perspective, it's just an issue from probably...
At some point submissive when people speak to him, because he never wants you to think that he thinks he's above them or anything like that. So I just think he's such a great speaker. Like they're like, what? I mean, and she's because I advocate for veganism.
And as well as that, he kind of takes the useless information that she's just kind of given him
and turned it around
and turned it back into the point. And he's been like, okay, so there was something useful you said in there. Oh, what about the death threats? You know what I mean?
societal perspective.
Right. When you see protests and occasionally scuffles outside abattoirs and farms and butchers, do you think that does the point have to be made to people walking down the street so scarily I mean, I'm one of those people that, you know, sort of I'll listen to any argument, but the more militant you are, the more I'll back away from you. So, you know, if you make me that angry, if you frighten me that much, I will eat a sausage.
Right, but it's a psychological thing. When people get pushed away when they feel that view is being pushed upon them, and that's why education is so important. We just need to look at the statistics, and I think that's what's so powerful. So, a study was released by Oxford University just earlier this year, a 5-year study that looked at the damage of farming to our environment. And they conclusively proved that actually if the world adopted the plant-based diet, we could save the agricultural land we need by 75%. Now, The Guardian also published another an article, and it was talking about how to avoid rising 2 degrees for global warming temperature point of view. In the UK, we have a responsibility, therefore, to reduce our beef, pig and lamb consumption by 90% and our dairy consumption by 60%. These are statistics that are not coming from vegans.
But Ed, there's another issue to that. I mean, the fact that we now seem to be awash with avocados, you can't escape avocado, means that the Brazilian rainforest has suffered because of the overproduction. If you look at quinoa, the new trendy food of the white middle classes in this country and elsewhere in Western Europe, Peruvian people for whom that was their staple now find that it's tripled in price. So there is another way that we need to tackle this.
Isn't it the fact that by merely having human beings on the planet, whether it's avocado farming or quinoa or cows or beef, there is going to be an impact.
Of course there is, but the way I see it is that our responsibility in life is to make sure the planet that we leave behind is better than the planet that we were born into, and we have an obligation to reduce.
So why bother being vegan? And then Ed's going to now go on to say, we're trying to reduce that impact as much as we can. We understand that, you know, sometimes we might eat an avocado at a restaurant that's been shipped from Israel because, you know, it's difficult to grow avocados in an English climate. Definitely. Or, you know, we might eat quinoa, which is apparently really damaging to the environment, as this lovely lady has just told us. So, you know, you're never ever going to be able to do anything 100%. Like, I drive a car that's not vegan because it's a car, because it uses petrol, which damages the environment. I personally wouldn't be able to get to uni, wouldn't be able to go and see my boyfriend, wouldn't be able to go and see my friends.
There's so many things, if we didn't have cars, I wouldn't be able to do. And there's also things like you can't check everything. Like, I have, I mean, I'm sure a lot of things in my room have different parts of animals and are not completely vegan, which I 100% don't agree with. But even in the walls, I know there's actually a thing I saw on YouTube the other day. There was something made with some of the plaster and stuff in the walls isn't vegan. Yeah. And you can't completely rip down a house and.
But you can go vegan, adopt a vegan diet, stop wearing items of clothing that aren't vegan, and reduce your impact somewhat. Yeah. I think Ed said by going vegan you reduce it by 75%, which is by following a vegan diet. Enough. Yeah. So that, I mean, if everyone on the earth was doing that, then we would 100% be not worrying about the planet, I think, as much as we are.
As much as some people think, well, it's not going to be in my lifetime, think about your kids, think about your
grandchildren,
your
great-grandchildren, and like, you've not met them yet because you might be our age and have not had even your own kid yet, but, you know, be accountable because you're the generation that can change it.
And I saw something on TV earlier about how this could be the last chance. This is the last generation we have to turn it all around. Yeah. And if we can't turn it all around, our planet is going to die, and that's so unfortunate. So this is really the generation where we need to push. Just environmental, sustainability. Environmental sustainability, that's what we need
to do. think, do you know what else just, you know, really grinds my gears?
Here we go.
Is the feminist voice coming out. The feminist voice is always out on these videos. When I watch them back, I'm like, there she is. But people are already looking into Mars and have been for some time. Could humans possibly inhabit Mars? Why don't we focus on the planet that we're currently on? We know humans can live on, and preserve it, and you know, be sustainable and make this planet last a long time, so that you know, generations and generations and generations won't have this thing hanging over their head of, you know, the worry of climate change and things like that, which we've had for years, and people just ignore it, you know, put down the paper, or who cares, I'll go eat my sausage, you know. So rather than in this, you know, fast-paced society, or we're so focused around immediacy, like, I want that now, I want that now, I want to do that now, I don't want to wait. Oh, I'll just get a new thing in, you know, don't like that top anymore, I'll just get a new one, I don't want that phone anymore, just get a new one, the new iPhone comes out, we get another one, you know. Why don't we actually focus, you know, on a whole perspective, not just veganism and not just the planet, on preserving things, recycling, reusing, and that just gives such a bigger impact in itself.
I agree with everything you said.
Suffering as much as we possibly can in our lives. Now, we can never obliterate suffering, but we must reduce it as much as we can. And simply going vegan is the simplest, the single biggest thing that we can do that has the biggest impact, not only to our environment, but to the trillions of animals who are exploited every single year needlessly. It's completely needless.
But I think the point is, how far are you prepared to go? How far will you? What do you say to those? Mark says, I run an abattoir.
He's from a generation
where me and my staff took photos of them, posted them on social media with the word murdering paedophiles written
No, I don't agree with what you're saying. I'm guessing someone's down is telling him to.
Of course I don't. Likewise, I don't agree with people sending me messages insinuating that I'm somehow an animal abuser or into bestiality simply because I want to save the lives of animals. This is the thing, it works both ways. We have to look at who the true victim is. It's not people that are necessarily having bad things said about them on social media. The true victims are the animals who are having their lives taken from them. They're forcibly impregnated.
Everyone's had something bad said about them on social media. The true victims here are the animals. Let's stop focusing on what people write on a keyboard, the keyboard warriors, the trolls, and let's actually think about what's happening every day. You know, what's happening right now? Pigs are being gassed. Chickens having their throats slit.
As we are making this video, animals are dying.
Their mothers, and their mothers are screaming. You know, that's what's going on right now. And you know, someone said, you know, gave me a death threat online, you know, they're not going to back that up, for one. It's all just keyboard warriors. It's horrible to receive. I am no way saying
and I feel like
condoning that behaviour.
Ed's also such a strong person to be like, block that out, what I'm doing is right, and that is fine.
And he's thinking of the victims here. He's thinking of the victims. He's essentially a victim of all this abuse.
And he knows what he's fighting for.
Yeah.
He 100% knows what he's fighting for, and I think she's not understanding it. No, she's not understanding, and she's not going, I know I'm getting these, but what I'm saying is right, and I'm not going to stop that. She's kind of saying like, oh, stop it, I don't want the death threats. Yeah. And he's like, I don't care if I get death threats.
He's basically saying,
I'm doing this for
not that he'll ever be violent or anything like that, but he's saying he'll do anything within his power that's non-violent and, you know, wouldn't be nasty at all. But he'll put himself on the line, as a better phrase of words, to save these animals, because at the end of the day, if the powerful, which as the human race we are powerful, if we don't do that, then who's going to?
Exactly. And I think as well, as a comment of them being top of the food chain and us eating animals, us being top of the food chain should mean we're responsible for the planet.
And we're only top of the food chain because we keep animals in enclosures. Like if we had, I'm sure if we didn't do that, then they would hurt us. Because we
scream and beg for mercy, and we grant them nothing. They are the oppressed majority in our society, and the least that we can do is give them some compassion and say they should have the right to live their life.
Final couple
of seconds. An animal should have.
I would like the vegan movement to campaign to make this diet more accessible to people from lower incomes.
So she's saying she wants the vegan diet to be more accessible.
Ed goes back with an argument, and they're like, no time. He's like,
thank you very much.
Yeah, so they basically give her the last word, which is a stupid argument once again, and Ed doesn't even get to back it up. But he actually laughs because he realises that
he's like, okay,
he knows that he's been right. So I suppose final points there are really like on that again. It is, you can be a vegan on the cheap, like we're students who work part-time, we study.
And definitely what her argument is not strong, and it has not got statistics to back it up.
Once again, Ed has outdone himself. He's an amazing speaker. We encourage everyone to look at the video. We're open to any other discussions people want to have about it.
Definitely. If you want to get in contact with us, we've got social media, we've got an email address you can message into, so if you want to give us something back, we would love that as well.
We would love it, yeah. Right, guys, we're really sorry, but the camera has died, so we're just going to have to end it on our phones, so really sorry if this is bad quality.
About that.
Yeah, so if you want to get in touch, then please do. We'd love that. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.